When the bees leave the hive and visit the flowers, can you describe what you actually see happening?
They fly out looking for suitable flowers, and when they find flowers they like, they spend time collecting pollen and nectar before returning to the hive.
May I ask some question about the pollen? When the bees move from one flower to another, actually what is happen to the pollen?
Some pollen can stick to bees' body. When the bees visit another flower, some of that pollen can be transferred to the flower.
Is it the bee is carrying the pollen from one flower to the another flower?
Yeah, you can almost think of them as tiny delivery drivers. They pick up pollen while visiting one flowers, and some of it can be transferred when they visit another flowers.
So their search for food is also helping the plants at the same time, is it?
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting. They are doing it for themselves, but their movement between flowers can also help the plants.
And that is where their everyday search for food becomes part of something much more bigger, which is pollination.
But there is another factor that bees cannot control, which is weather, right? When you were helping your daddy with the bees, what did you notice during heavy rain?
During heavy rain, the bees have more difficult going outside. They usually stay inside more because flying in a heavy rain is really difficult.
So when the weather prevents them from going outside, what happens to their flower visits?
They simply have fewer chances to go out. During heavy rain, they usually stay inside, so they cannot visit as many flowers as they normally would.
And if they have fewer opportunities to visit a flower, does that also affect their opportunities to pollinate?
Yes, the flower can still be there, but the bees may not be able to interact with them in the same way.
So the rain doesn't remove the flowers. It changes whether the bees can reach them.
We have spent a lot of time talking about what makes it harder for bees to reach flowers, so let's change that around. What is one thing we can actually change?
One simple thing is to provide more flowering plants. Even a small garden or balcony can give pollinators another place to find food.
Just now you mentioned that the another place, does it have to be a special type of the garden?
Not necessarily. It can be a simple space with different flowering plants that provide food for pollinators.
So does one small balcony really makes a difference?
Actually, by itself, it is small, but if many people do it, those small spaces can add up and provide more resources for pollinators.
So we are not trying to solve the entire problems with one garden. We are creating more opportunities for the bees to reach the flower. Well, spend the interview looking at what is happening around the bees today. Now, if let's imagine that we could walk into Malaysia in 2030s, what would you actually want to see around us if Malaysia had become a more pollinator-friendly?
In 2030, I will hope to see more connected green spaces, more flowering plants in residential areas, and cities where nature is not separate from everyday life. Maybe you would see flowers along walkways, small gardens in housing areas, and more plants around public spaces.
Still, instead of imagining one huge bee farm, you are imagining many small places where pollinators can find the flowers instead move through the city.
Yes, I think it will be more realistic to have many small spaces working together.
So your 2030 isn't simply a city with more flowers. It is a city where the environment is designed with pollinators in mind.
And sometimes protecting some things big begins with notice some things very small.